Second last game of the year. Leafs on the road for both of them tonight in Ottawa. Ottawa's a team that traditionally, over the last few years, no matter how good the Leafs are, no matter how bad the Senators are, I've commented on this before, they always give the Leafs trouble. And tonight was another one of those nights. And it was a weird game because in the end, the Leafs had more shots. They won more faceoffs. Ottawa had to block more shots. The hits were basically even. Leafs even scored a fucking power play goal for once. Hallelujah. And they still lose in overtime, right? It was just one of those weird nights. And the game had other than some sequences where there was a lot of needless penalties called, the game had a pretty good flow to it. But at the same time, the pace seemed a little slower than usual. Like, both teams can be pretty fast, but they just seem to be skating at 3/4 speed or half speed. Like, it just seems slower than usual. So I don't know if this is just a matter of I think it was Ottawa's last game of the year. Maybe this is their last one in the Leafs' second last game. So I don't know if it's just it's the last couple games of the regular season and it's just like they're mailing it in sort of thing. So it didn't have that same kind of edge or bite to it. But the game still had a pretty decent flow. The pace was down, and it just wasn't. I want to say it wasn't an engaging hockey game for a lot of portions of it. So, but there was a lot of goals. The first period, and the big news, I guess, was that Freddie Anderson was finally back from injury, so he got the start in the Leaf net tonight. And maybe that slow pace was actually a good thing, for him playing his first NHL game in, I think, over a couple months. He's been out forever, it seems. Maybe that was a good thing, right? But again, it's against Ottawa. They gave the Leafs trouble, and Ottawa was first on the board. Low chance first period. The shots were only maybe 8-6 Ottawa at the end of it, but Ottawa struck for the lone goal, and it was in the last just over a minute left in the period. And it was just Ottawa was working it around the zone, I believe, and it came to Zaitsev at the right point, former Maple Leaf, and Ottawa set up its screen in front of Freddie. There was a Leaf defenseman and an Ottawa forward right in front of him. When he came across to the left side of the net, Zaitsev let a slapper go. He didn't see it. It went perfect top corner blocker inside the post. 1-0. Not much he could have done other than maybe not have gone down so fast and been a little taller in net, but that's neither here nor there. Second period is when the bulk of the scoring happened, and it started 6 minutes in, and it was the Leafs. Their power play goal came first, and it was Muzzin from the point. And over the last 2 years, they had this stat tonight, over the last 2 seasons, the Leafs have only had 3 defenseman goals on the power play, which is fucking unbelievable. That is so low and so ridiculous that it's kind of scary, actually. So, but anyways, the Leafs were kind of working it around the zone. Ottawa was pressing. It was worked back to Muzzin at the point. He was creeping in. So he wasn't right at the point, but he was kind of in the mid slot, maybe to high slot. So he was in a bit further than normal. and it came back to him, and he just ripped a one-timer on net as kind of more of a desperation move. Not really a desperation move, but just to finally get a chance, and it went in because the Leafs power play, I'm not sure if that was their first, that was maybe their second power play opportunity on the Muzzin goal, but neither team's power play honestly looked very good at all game. And we know the struggles the Leafs have had on theirs, but they managed to strike in this one instance finally, but it didn't look great all night besides that one goal. So and Ottawa's too, they didn't look great either. So 3 minutes later, Sens would restore their 1-goal lead, and the next 2 goals on Fred were kind of bizarre ones. On this goal at the 9-minute mark by the Sens, the Leafs were on the power play again, and after I think it was a face-off in the Ottawa end, a little bit of a bounce break saw Connor Brown, another former Leaf, be able to streak down the right wing and beat Riley in a foot race, and Riley pursued him and harried him a little bit without taking a penalty, and Fred was able to slide to his right and stop the chance by Brown, but it got cut up in his pads, and he was kind of, his momentum when he went to the right side of the net, it kind of got him in a spin cycle. And I don't know if he lost, he couldn't feel the puck underneath him or whatever, but he started to freak out, and somehow, and all that, and Matthews was on the scene as well. Matthews went down in the crease to kind of cover Fred's position while Fred scrambled for the puck. But somehow it came loose. Brown picked it up and put it in past the both of them. So I don't know how it happened, but it was a bizarre goal and a bit of a fluke. But this is what happens against Ottawa. 3 minutes after that, around the 12-minute mark, Ottawa would strike again, and this one was another bizarre one. A Ottawa rookie named Parker Kelly, I believe his name is. He kind of got hammered in the corner by Riley. It was a little shove, but he kind of went in head first into the boards. It didn't look like that hard of a shot. I don't know if he was just off balance or something, but it was a hit from behind, so there was going to be a penalty. But Ottawa kept possession, and eventually a shot from the point went wide of Fred on the right side, popped out to the left side where Parker Kelly had gotten up after getting hit. And from the goal line, basically, he shot it into the crease, and Fred was kind of scrambling to come across after the shot that went wide and came out the other side, and it hit his pad, and then he kind of spun to grab it, and it just went in. Like, it was 2 goals in a row that were just kind of weird. Fred scrambling, bad luck, that sort of thing. So I don't even know what to think of those 2 goals. Like, I don't know if it was just bad positioning by Fred or if it was just bad luck and bad breaks and some sort of weird friggin' chance of, I don't know. But those were the 2 goals that put the Sens in front 3-1. And it was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights, right? But the Leafs battled. And somewhere in the 16th minute, Tavares got the Leafs back to within 1. And it was kind of a scrambly play. The Leafs were working around the zone, but Ottawa was pressing them really tight. And I think it was Muzzin just managed to kind of, at the point, just backhand slap it high into the far corner, kind of behind the net on the right side. Nylander was able to kind of catch it on his stick, knock it down, field it behind the net, and then center it for Tavares, who was kind of creeping in, and then he wired one home on the blocker side to make it 3-2 Ottawa to cut that lead a bit. So into the third period we went, and it looked like the Leafs were going to go down. Oh, excuse me. Go down 3-2, but eventually, a little after the 17th minute, Matthews was able to get the Leafs on the board, and it was kind of a scramble in the Ottawa end, and a lot of play in behind the Ottawa net as the Leafs forechecked, and I think it was it Marner that came out and tried a wraparound attempt or something like that. I can't remember who it was. And on I forget the Ottawa goalie, Forsberg or whatever his name is. No, Forsberg? I forget. On his left side, and it kind of bounced, the rebound kind of bounced a little out in front of the crease, and then Matthews was there to kind of bang it home real quick on the rebound, so that was 3-3. And that's the way it would end, and to overtime we went. Overtime took 9 seconds, and it was a brutal giveaway by Marner that ended it. Off the opening face-off, the Leafs kind of controlled and got possession, and Marner was being pressured, so he kind of just went to play it off the boards along the right wing as a bank pass back to his defenseman, but Tkachuk was kind of right behind him. I don't know how he didn't see him or just thought he would be able to put the puck past him, and he basically just was like, bank pass off the boards, here you go, Sens. Tkachuk put it over to Josh Norris, who then put it in the net. And there's the Leafs' 4-3 overtime loss. So, bright side is they picked up a point. Overall, they seem on paper to be the better team. But you kind of want them to have a little more of an impressive performance with 2 games left in the regular season as you're gearing up for the playoffs. Not kind of that. It was, to me, it was just a ho-hum kind of game, even though, statistically they were the better team. Nothing really impressed me about them tonight. I don't know. But that's the way it goes against Ottawa, so maybe I'm reading too much into it. But anyways, that's what happened. Fred got his first game back, so that's good to get that under his belt. And Foligno was also back in the lineup. So as I was predicting when he kind of tweaked his leg or whatever it is a few games back. I thought it was more of a minor injury, and it turns out it was. He's back already, so that's good because he's going to be an important type of player in the playoffs. So all they're missing still is just Zach Hyman and Zach Bogosian. I think those are the only two guys that are out. And then once the playoffs arrive, salary cap doesn't matter, so they can get Sandin back in the lineup and that sort of thing. And hopefully, and Riley Nash is practicing too, so they can maybe get him in. So all in all, things are looking good. Now, there's a big goaltending question mark about the playoffs because Fred's been out for so long. He didn't look great in his 2 AHL games. Tonight, like I said, I don't know what to think about those 2 goals and the fact that he let in 4 and the Leafs lost to Ottawa. I know he's the goalie that gets paid the most. He's their bona fide number 1, but while he was out, Jack Campbell did some really impressive stuff for the Leafs, and I think he deserves a chance to start in the playoffs. You know, he's the kind of guy that kept the Leafs rolling after Freddie went down. Teammates love him, and you're gonna kind of throw Fred to the wolves in the first round of the playoffs, only really playing 1 game. I would say, Fred, you're still our guy, but given the circumstances, we're gonna start Jackie, and should he falter, you know, the ball will pass to you, right? Or the puck will pass to you. But I just can't see them for everything Campbell's done for the team under those circumstances. If it was me, I'd be hard-pressed to not give Jack at least a chance. Give him game 1 in the first round against Montreal. And whether he wins or loses, keep him rolling until it looks like, okay, no, he's starting to struggle. He had a bad game, a bad night with some bad goals. I would give him that chance because he's earned it, right? So, but Fred makes all the money. He's the number 1, so I don't know what the Leafs are going to do, what the management and the coach is going to do, but we'll find out come next Wednesday because that's when the Leafs playoff series starts against the Habs. And we now know at least a couple of divisions what the matchups are going to be. In the North, it's going to be Leafs-Montreal for the first time in a playoff series since 1979. You've probably heard that already. So that'll be exciting. They should win that. They better fucking win that. And the other series will be the Oilers and the Jets. And whoever comes out of that series, the Leafs played like shit against Ottawa and Vancouver. But I think the 3 teams that had the best record against were the Habs, the Jets, and the Oilers. So they can handle all those teams, you know. So I fully expect the Leafs, barring disaster, to come out of the North and go to the semifinals. But that's why they play the games, and we've all known they've given us disappointment before. So we'll see. But one of the other divisions we know, it's going to be Pittsburgh against the New York Islanders and Boston against Washington, which is an intriguing matchup because Chara, now playing for the Caps, will be facing his former team. And then I'm not sure about the other 2 divisions, if those have necessarily been decided yet. I haven't really looked at that recently, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more clarity in the next day or 2. So, or maybe there already is, I just haven't noticed it yet. But so we'll see what happens. Leafs play Ottawa, or play Winnipeg for their final game of the season on Friday night, I believe. And then other than Vancouver, who still has to get a bunch of COVID games left in, and most of the league will have finished up, and the playoffs start on Saturday with Boston and Washington. So it's going to be a busy next few days and into next week as the playoffs start, but I can't wait. And for now, that's all I got. But I will be back on Friday night. If I don't fall asleep, it'll be Saturday morning. And then that'll be our last update before the playoffs begin. So have a great rest of the week, and I will see y'all then.